Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. In lexical studies, before our midterm exam, we were discussing about morphological description. If you remember, do you remember? No? Yes, it has been a long time ago when we have discussed this. So just recap what we have discussed so far before our midterm exam. So we were discussing about morphological description. You have studied a complete chapter from the book of The Study of Language by Jules, where we have discussed and we have studied morphological description, and we have discussed about the morpheme and different types of morphemes. So morpheme, as we have discussed in this term, under this term we have discussed about free morphemes and bound morphemes. Free morphemes has two more types: lexical morphemes or functional morphemes. Lexical morphemes like basic word, root word like table, chair, read, write, watch, etc. And in functional morphemes, functional words who make the sentence, functional words which make or help us to make sentence structure, like also, and, or, the, etc. The next type of morpheme that we have discussed, bound morphemes, and bound morpheme is also divided into more types: derivational morphemes and inflectional morphemes. What is derivational morphemes? Yes, it's about affixation, prefixes, and suffixes. When we do addition in the start of the word, it's called prefixes, like im, ir, un. Or when we do addition at the end of the word, it's called suffix, like nes, shun, el, etc. The next type of bound morpheme is inflectional morphemes, like s, apostrophe s, or ed, ta, past tense, or plural forms, etc. So today we will discuss about morph, morpheme, and allomorph as our today's lectures. So what is morph? A morph is simply the phonetic representation of a morpheme, how the morpheme is said, how a morpheme is pronunciated. So phonetic representation means how a word is pronunciated or how a word is said. Like here you can see three examples of there are different morphemes: cats, dogs, or houses. These are the three different words, not morphemes. In cats, there are two morphemes, cat and s, and it's pronounced, this s sounds, the highlighted blue sound is pronounced with s. The next s sounds that we put with the dogs s morpheme is pronounced like z sound, and houses, that's this s morpheme is pronounced as is. So cats, dogs, and houses. Here we use only one morph s, and here when we see the result and when we see the pronunciation and the sounds are different. So these different sounds is when we say these are the different morphs. So morph, when we talk about the origin of this language, it's originated from Greek language. Its meaning is shape or form. And if we want to use this verb morph in a sentence as a verb, so the sentence would be in this, like the picture of a dog morphed into a picture of a cat. Suppose we are using a software, or we are drawing or painting a picture, and by using that software, the picture of the dog morphed into a picture of a cat, means it was changed the shape of the picture. Next morpheme. As you know, students, word is not the smallest meaningful unit of a language. Morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit. So we can say morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit of a language that cannot be further divided, that cannot be further analyzed. And if we want to break this morpheme into more categories, into more versions, it will be meaningless. We cannot do appropriate communications. So here we can see there are three words, or then we can see that there are some examples of the morphemes. Three words like unthinkable, This is a one word. And when we see about morphemes, when we divided this one word into different morphemes, there are three different morphemes. Unthinkable. There are three morphemes, whereas this was the one word. So three morphemes, the highlighted in black ink, the think word. This is the basic word. This is the root word, or it's called free morphemes, and the rest of the words are the more bound morphemes, un and able. So free and bound morphemes, and only total there are three morphemes, whereas it was a one word. Next word is books, and we can divide it in two parts, book and s. It means there are two morphemes. The third one is impossibility. Impossibility, we can see, we can divide it into three more morphemes. Impossibility. Impossibility. Possible is a base word, root word, or free morpheme, ity or im. The surrounding these two morphemes are the bound morphemes. So we can see that the morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit, and if we want to break this, in the first example, think, if we want to break this word, this will be meaningless, useless. We cannot do proper communication. So word can be divided into more portions, into different portions, whereas morpheme cannot be divided into more categories. So what is allomorphs? An allomorph is a variant form of a morpheme, or any of the different forms of a morpheme, whether in pronunciation or spellings. So in what way we pronounce the morpheme, or in what way we write, it means we are talking about pronunciation, phonetic descriptions, and orthographically, or means we are talking about spellings, in what way we write and in what way we pronounce those words. The plural in English has three different morphs, making plural and allomorphs, because there are alternatives. Here we can see the examples of plurals. The morph is just how you pronounce the morpheme. The allomorph is a variation in pronunciation. Different version of different varieties of morphemes is called allomorph. So not all plurals are formed in the same way. They are made in English with three different morphs. Like here we can see the spellings: kicks, S, we want to make this word singular word kick, we want to make it plural, we will add the word S. S morpheme will be added to the word kick, so it will become kicks. The sound is hissing S sound. The next word is dogs. Although we have put this only the S morpheme with this example, dogs, but it will be pronunciated in a different way. It will be sounds za sound, not sa sound. So next word is sizes. Is, it's not a sound, it's not a z sound, it's a is. Sizes. So these are the different three allomorphs, and the S is morpheme or morph, or these are the different version of the this morph. So examples next, they are called, talked, or glided. Da sound, ta sound, ed we use when we want to make the past tense. Or allomorphs, we can say the word called, we use the da, ta, da. So da, ta, ed, or these are the allomorphs of the past tense. When the morpheme is represented by a segment, that segment is a morph. If a morpheme can be represented by more than one morph, the morphs are allomorphs of the same morpheme, as we have discussed in our previous slides. The prefixes in like in insane, or ill in illegal, or im in impossible, or ir in irregular are allomorphs of the same negative morpheme. We want to show the negativity in the sentences, we use these words. It means these are the allomorphs of negative morpheme. Next word is kicks, dog, sizes. Again we are using these examples again as we have discussed in previous slides. So kicks, sa sound, dogs, za sound, sizes, is sound. These all are the allomorphs of the S morpheme. So plural S like cats, bags, matches. Here you can see the diagram. So cats, in cats, the word morpheme S is a morph. And the next bags, the sound is also another morph. And matches, sizes, matches is sound is also another morph. So these three morphs mean collectively we will see these are the allomorphs of the S morpheme or S morph. When we find a group of different morphs, all versions of one morpheme, as we have discussed in our previous slides, so all versions of a morpheme, we can use the prefix allo. Allo means other or one of a closely related set. So it describes them as allomorphs of that particular morpheme. So to sum up all previous discussion, we can say morpheme is a class of orthographical form. Orthographical form means in spelling, in what spelling we have to write that particular word. Or allomorph is a class of phonological form, in what way we have to pronounce that word, in what way we have to say that particular word or morph. A member of either class is a morph or morphs make up morpheme or allomorph. Like see the examples: cats, bags, or matches. In cats, we put the morph s to make it plural, cat or cats. Another bag or bags. Also, we put the word morpheme s with bag or bags, but the pronunciation is different. It's a za sound, not a sa sound. Then matches. It's not a sa sound. It's not a za sound. It is matches. This is another morph. So when we talk about collectively all those three morphs, we can say these are the allomorphs or the S morph. It's three different pronunciation of the S. Next, move towards the types of allomorphs. There are four types of allomorph: additive allomorph, replacive allomorph, suppletive allomorph, or zero allomorph. Additive allomorph means we add something, we add some morphs to make it plural or to make past, like we put the word da or ed, id, ta sound, or like trust or trusted or build or built, these sorts of additions. Next, there is the replacive allomorphs. Replacive allomorphs mean we change the sounds to make it past tense or to make another changes. If you want to make some other changes, so we change the replace the sound. Next, there is a suppletive allomorph. Suppletive allomorph means the complete change in the shape of a word. We cannot predict or we cannot say what will be the next form or what will be the past tense, like that. Or then there is a zero allomorph. Zero allomorph means although the spelling will be same, the pronunciation will be same, but we want to say that there is no change in the spelling or in the pronunciation, but we can change the form, like from singular to plural we use it as a singular or we use it as a plural, the same spelling, the same pronunciation, like deer or deer, sheep or sheep. Additive allomorphs. To signify some difference in meaning, something is added to a word. The past tense form of most English verbs is formed by adding suffixes ed, which can be pronounced as either ta, da, or ed, etc. Examples of allomorphs: asked, lived or lived, need or needed. You can make more and more examples according to that rule. Then there is a replacive allomorph. To signify some difference in meaning, a sound is used to replace another sound in a word. Like a word is a drink. The first form is drink, and we want to make it past tense. We will change this e sound with a sound, like drank, or swim, or swam, think, or thought. In this way, we change the sound of the next form. So next there is a third type, which is suppletive allomorph. To signify some difference in meaning, there is a complete change in the shape of a word. Like for example, go, went, gone. be, is, was, or be, bad, worse, or worst, or good, bad, or best. So there is a complete change in the shape of a word. We cannot predict what way we make to second form, or what way make the second form of the verb, or what way we have to make the second form of a adjective. We cannot predict by the first form of the verb. So suppletive allomorphs, we can say completely arbitrary allomorphs. Arbitrary means randomly there are a change in the spellings or in the shape of the word, and this is not predictable from the first form of the verb. We cannot make the plural or second form of the verb according to the first form or according to the base word. So there is a arbitrary allomorphs. These are called, which are relatively rare in lexicon in English language. These are not many in numbers, and that occur almost exclusively with a few or very frequent words. Or this is unpredictable kind of allomorph is called suppletion. So we cannot predict by the first form of the verb in what way we have to make second form. So this is the suppletive allomorphs. This is called suppletion. Next type is zero allomorphs. Zero allomorph is the term given to the unit involved when a morpheme changes status from one type of morpheme to another without any condition or subtraction of its part, without any change in the spelling, without any change in the pronunciation. So spellings and pronunciation will be same, but the form of the verb means we want to make the plural form, the singular form will be different from the plural form. And meaning wise, we can take these two different forms like sheep or sheep. We cannot say sheeps or deer or deer. We want to make plural, we will not put s with the deers. It will remain deer, sheep or deer. So it's called zero morph, means no change in the spelling, no change in the pronunciation, but change will be in the meaning. Next one is hurt. First form of the verb is hurt, second is hurt, third is hurt. No change in the no change in the spellings, no change in the pronunciation, but the change will be in the meaning. So this is called zero allomorph. Next is indefinite articles as allomorphs. Allomorphs are forms that are related to each other but slightly different depending on the surrounding environment. For example, word a or a book, a skirt, a friend, a phone call, any book or any skirt, a friend or phone call, or a laptop, a mobile, a book or chair. So these are the used for one of something, but not any particular one. But if the word following a or a begin with a vowel and not a consonant, then the word changes its form, like an apple, an ice cream cone, or an iguana, or an idea, an eye, so etc. Although this is used for one, but because it starts with vowel sounds, not a consonant sounds. Apple, a sound, ice cream, a sound, I or I. So these are words. Which word starts with the vowel sounds? We use an rather than a book, like an apple. So it also means one, from something one. An apple, any one apple. An ice cream, any one ice cream, not a particular one.